we, the American people, from those aliens and those people I'm trying to remove. President Trump supports the cops who are trying to protect us from predators, whether they're homegrown or they're not homegrown. We should be out there celebrating what he's doing. Celebrating it because he has the guts to do what he's doing. And most politicians simply do not. And so we have the spitballers in Congress. Finally, they wake up. Do they wake up to defend the country? No. Did they wake up to deport illegal immigrants? No. Did they wake up to secure the border? Some did, some didn't. But they wake up when it comes to trying to destroy a Pete Hegseth. They wake up when it comes to trying, of course, to destroy Donald Trump. And what have these men done? They're trying to act in the best interests of the country and to protect us. To protect us. This is going on in our hemisphere under the Monroe Doctrine. This is going on in our communities, in our neighborhoods, in our schools, in our streets. And if they had their way, these Lilliputians, these Quislings, it would continue to go on and go on even more. They claim to care about people. They don't care about us. They simply don't. What's a few more deaths? What's a few more deaths? President trying to deport illegal aliens. That's the law. It's funny. They talk about what's the law. That's the law. They don't have to be serial criminals. They don't have to be rapists and murderers to deport. You're here illegally. Get the hell out. And even when he's trying to deport violent criminals who are here illegally, foreigners who are in our country illegally, naming our people. You've got Democrat Party mayors and governors and city councilmen and the rest trying to block him. Trying to block him. So who is it? Who is it that's trying to protect the American people? This shouldn't be an ideological issue. It shouldn't be a partisan issue. But it is. It's both. The Marxist Islamists want more illegal aliens. They are violent. They reject our republic. They reject the Judeo-Christian values that undergird our country and our society. They seek to reverse what we've created through immigration.
Probably more than that.
The Democrat Party cares about one thing, power. They are power hungry. That's it. They've always been power hungry. That's it. Party before country.
Well, just to piss Wiggin off.
Party before country. Ideology before party. And party before country. That's what they are. And that's what we're up against. And so now they're very worried about two druggies, drug distributors who are on a boat that got blown up twice. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I could care less. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. And I expect that the vast majority of the American people don't either. You got Rand Paul out there. Either Pete Hegseth is lying or incompetent. No, how about Pete Hegseth is telling the truth, is very competent, and is courageous. Unlike you, you weasel. Unlike you, you weasel. You've got Hakeem Jeffries out there calling the Secretary of War the so-called Secretary of Defense. So-called, from the so-called speaker wannabe. These are cowards. These are buffoons. Mark Warner, who can barely complete a sentence without making an ass out of himself. Trump and Hegseth are the biggest crowd of wimps you've ever seen. Hegseth, a combat veteran. Warner, a moron. I'll be right back.
Guys, are you looking for a good all-around men's health partner? For anything from weight loss to testosterone support and beyond. Check out Rougiette, They have clinically backed medications and free consultations from board-certified doctors that make it easy to get a personalized treatment plan, all online. Plus, all prescriptions come from FDA-regulated pharmacies and shipped direct to your home. Stop making excuses and start making moves. Visit Rugiet.com/Levin to get 15% off your first order. That's RUGIET.com/Levin. Use our code so they know we sent you. Get 15% off your first order now at RUGIET.com/Levin. Rugiet, your personalized men's health partner.
Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing review. Visit the Rugiet website for full safety information.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station.
Making sense of the news.
News Talk 105.9. News now.
WMAL News at 6:30. I'm Heather Curtis. An 18-year-old volunteer firefighter in Wheaton and Bethesda is released on bond today while awaiting trial on charges of possession of child porn. The investigation into Evan Morrison started after a tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children in February about a social media account being used for child porn. Morrison was removed from his volunteer duties that month, arrested after Montgomery County Police say they found evidence on electronics seized in his house. The White House says the findings in the Pentagon watchdog report about Secretary of War Pete Hegseth's use of Signal to discuss a military strike on Yemen exonerates him. The acting inspector general wrote Hegseth created risks to operational security, adding it could have put American pilots in harm's way. As Pentagon spokesperson says, the report proves that there was no classified information shared. Democrats in Virginia's congressional delegation, among those renewing calls for Hegseth to resign or be fired. Traffic and weather next.
For 75 years, AmeriQ Credit Union has been more than just a place to bank. It's a place where you belong. Create your meaningful connection at ameriq.org/belong. AmeriQ and you. Let's connect. Membership eligibility required. Insured by NCUA.
Look out, the flu monster could be anywhere. He could be right next to you on the bus, at the store, at the game, or in the conference room. Protect yourself with a flu shot. Appointments are open for ages 2 and older, or just walk in. SkinnyDrugs.com.
Thinking about continuing your education? Start with AEPP. We make it easy to find adult education programs that fit your life. Whether it's preparing for your GED, building your reading and writing skills, or discovering apprenticeship opportunities, our programs are always expanding to make sure you receive the personalized support, flexibility, and options that work for you and your future. Learn more today at nysed.gov/adulted. A message from the New York State Education Department.
Inflation, bank failures, recessions. In times like these, protecting your wealth is more important than ever. Gold and silver have stood the test of time as investments that safeguard your wealth. That's why millions of investors turn to APMEX. With over 25 years of experience, we make buying precious metals easy and safe. Visit APMEX.com today because in uncertain times, gold and silver aren't just an investment, they're protection. That's APMEX.com.
Ever wish buying a home was as easy as clicking your heels 3 times? At Northern Credit Union, we know there's no place like home. We offer first-time buyer programs with no closing costs, VA, USDA, seasonal, new construction, and many other loan options. If you're dreaming of home ownership, Northern will help you get into your new home in 3 clicks of your heels. Getting approved is quick and easy, and with our meet or beat rate guarantee, you know you're getting the lowest rate possible. Our team is here to help you along the yellow brick road to home ownership with honest advice, personalized service, and support every step of the way. Click your heels or just call or text, because at Northern, there's no place like home. Northern Credit Union, mortgage magic in the real world. Call or text 315-782-0155 or apply online at mynorthern.com. Federally insured, NCUA, equal housing opportunity.
Carmelo Anthony here for DraftKings Sportsbook. An 82-game season, that's a grind. Trust me, I already know about that. The Emirates NBA Cup turns it up even more, and DraftKings Sportsbook lets you feel that fire every night. New customers, bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code HEART. That's code HEART. in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, pass-through of per-wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
Making sense of your world.
Thank you for your clear insight.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
This is a major wake-up call.
Making sense of the news. Washington's best way to wake up. O'Connor and Company with Larry O'Connor. Weekday mornings from 5 to 9 on WMAL.
But then, the thunder on the right. And now, 877-381-3811.
We're here with our friend Chip Roy. Chip Roy, how's your campaign going, my friend?
Mark, I hope you had a blessed Thanksgiving.
Yes, sir.
Campaign is going great. We got all over the state of Texas. Of course, now I'm back to my day job and trying to, get my colleagues to stand behind the president in all ways that we can and deliver. But look, the results are good down in Texas. Polling is showing me way up in the polls, and we're just, trying to run strong, and early voting starts in mid-February. So we're feeling good.
Now, you're running for Attorney General of Texas, and that's a big job, isn't it?
It is, and as you and I've talked about, it's difficult because I've got so many good friends, and I've really enjoyed what we've done here in Washington and changing the institution and delivering, alongside the president, the big beautiful bill. We're still working, but it's also a time to go back and make sure that we fight for Texas, because if we lose Texas, we lose America. And we're, as you and I talked about, we're under assault. Open borders, the Marxist Islamist attack on Texas, what they're doing with Epic City, what they're doing with Sharia law, what they're doing with mosques, and we've got to address it. And you got to have somebody smart enough to be able to deal with the complications of, First Amendment jurisprudence, but he's willing to stand up and call it out and stand up and call out the radical leftists that are putting criminals on our streets. And God's given me the background and the experience to be a part of fights, but also to understand the law and to be a former prosecutor and to be there at the right time. So putting my name out there, and we feel good about it.
Jim Roy, I'm reading these news stories and hearing a lot of former federal prosecutors say that our military actions against Venezuela to try and keep their drugs out of our country are illegal. And I don't care if I'm the only one that says this. They're absolutely not illegal. Self-defense. There's a whole lot of arguments that can and should be made, as far as I'm concerned, about the right to keep these poisons out of our country. I mean, if they were putting toxins in the air, in our atmosphere of our country, that would be an act of war. If they were poisoning our water, that would be an act of war. And so now they're poisoning our people. They're using Russia and China and Mexico, Mexican cartels, but we know it's them. And we know it's not an individual or a cartel. We know it's a government that is trying to kill as many Americans as possible as it enriches itself. What's your take on this?
Well, I think this is actually a really important threshold question. And Mark, you're one of the smartest lawyers I know. I know you care deeply about the Constitution. You've written I don't know how many books about it. You and I both share a commitment with separation of powers, making sure that we're watching the law carefully. I don't think this is a close call. And I'm watching all of this hand-wringing over it. And look, and I say that as someone, you know me, if I thought that this was an overstep, I'd say so. Because I actually have a duty to. So I'm looking at this and I'm objectively, I'm going, okay, I'm trying to think of this. If this were a Democrat, if I just disagreed with them on other issues, do I think the President of the United States can act preemptively to go hit a boat that you've got narco-terrorists running fentanyl with good intelligence, that it will get into the United States and certainly kill Americans? And we know they're doing it. And by the way, that we've declared any number of these cartels as terrorist organizations, rightfully so, by the way. Do I think the President of the United States has the ability under his Article 2 powers to do that? Yes, I do. Now, have I explored every angle of every limit over years and what it all looks like? No, and I'll pay attention to it. But the president has a duty to defend us from those who are trying to kill us, especially when they're the organized cartels who have been at war with us for decades.
Let me underscore your point. During the Reagan administration and under the State Department back then, George Shultz, it was the position of President Reagan and Shultz and Weinberg and the others, that America has an absolute inherent right to defend itself against any illegal use of force. And that would include deadly drugs that are pouring into our countries from Venezuela, that's making a fortune, from the government of Venezuela. And these assumptions are supported in, if you look at the DOD Law of War Manual, the United States, I'm quoting, has long taken the position that the inherent right of self-defense potentially applies against any legal use of force, unquote. So this criticism of the administration's use of force against a government that is using cartels and other third parties to bring killer drugs into our country to kill hundreds of thousands of Americans, if that's not self-defense, both under the defense policy and under the broader policy of the United States that's been in existence for half a century, I don't know what the hell is.
Well, Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, but from my memory, and I haven't looked at it in a while, if you go back over the last decade, you have probably upwards of 500,000 Americans who have died from some variations of synthetic opioids driven primarily by fentanyl. If that is true, notwithstanding whatever fault lies with the individuals in America who might take some drugs they shouldn't or whatever, if you have 500,000 Americans that have been killed this way, how many were killed in World War II? About
400,000, give or take.
400 and something thousand, right?
Yeah.
So more people have died in the last decade than died in World War II. Now, I realize there's different time zones, time constraints, but that's what we're talking about. The President of the United States taking what I would call as lawful preemptive strikes against organized terrorist cartels that are doing this purposefully. And I think the president has Article 2 authority to do that.
Yeah, me too. Now, if Congress disagrees, Congress can cut off the funding. The War Powers Act, I don't even believe that's constitutional. That's never been tested. But that said, Congress can cut off the funding. If they don't have the votes to cut off the funding, they can impeach a president. If they don't have votes to impeach a president, they happen to lose this constitutional battle. That's the way it goes. But I can go back to Noriega, in Panama. We sent our Marines in there. They shot their way in. 300 of the Panamanian military and civilians, maybe more, dead. 23 of our Marines killed for the purpose of capturing Noriega, who was another drug kingpin, who was pushing drugs into our country through Colombia. I know, I was there toward the end of the Reagan administration. Then it was the early Bush administration. We captured him. We prosecuted him. And it was all about changing that regime in our hemisphere to protect our country. No declaration of war, and Congress wasn't informed until the effort was underway because they were afraid it would leak. So there is precedent for this sort of thing.
Well, and adding to that, I do think we have to be smart as Republicans to be clear to the American people the stakes. Because if we're not clear about the war that is being waged against us, whether it's the dangerous cartels, in this case already described, the deaths from fentanyl, but also just the chaos and the destruction of the Western Hemisphere, the dismantling of the rule of law, the pressure that then push on immigration into our country. If we're not honest about the organized effort of the Marxists and the radical leftists and Islamists that are trying to destroy Western civilization in our country, and if we're not willing to empower our executive and to stand behind our executive within some degree of reason, you and I both would apply equally to Republican or Democrat president, some limits if we see something being too aggressive. But President Trump is right. His instincts are right. And what he's doing and what Secretary Hegseth are doing is it is correct that we should be stopping these evil actors from killing our people and corrupting the Western Hemisphere and making us a weaker, less secure country. It is about time that we reclaim our position in the Western Hemisphere in a Trump doctrine for the 21st century.
Yeah, I mean, I just look at it as also the common sense of it. If you know somebody down the street is giving drugs to somebody else in the neighborhood for the purpose of spreading it in the high school, you can have as many people at that high school trying to prevent kids from using drugs and so forth and so on. But that guy who's behind it and so forth, you got to address that. And I can tell you that the founders of this country and the framers of the Constitution wouldn't be hesitant about this. Look at the Barbary pirates and so forth. Another case where there wasn't a declaration of war. John Adams kept trying to pay them off. Jefferson comes in and says, that's enough of that. He sends what is our Navy over there, and they go to war, and they try to free what are these European slaves that have been enslaved by the Somalians, ironically, and others. And I just feel like sometimes some of these arguments are so stupid and absurd. There are black and white cases. But why is it that the left and some of our isolationists, don't get me wrong, why is it that their knee-jerk response is to attack Pete Hegseth, to attack the commander-in-chief, and they have no answers on what to do about all this drug stuff?
I think at the end of the day, it is comfort in being able to talk about it from the comfort of our homes in America. It's why, I know this is going to sound a little different, but stick with me for a minute. The people that I trust in the world who really, truly believe.
Oh, what happened? Hold on, we lost you for about 10 seconds, Chip.
I'm sorry.
Try that again. Yeah, you're back.
Yeah. I'm in D.C. Sorry, I don't know why the cell signal's back. But
oh, I know why you're in D.C., but that's a whole nother story. Go ahead.
Right. The Eastern Europeans, the Africans that have been subjected to tyranny, who are not allowed to carry out their faith, they understand freedom. They understand that you have to protect it constantly. And there are a lot of people, Democrat and Republican, that have gotten too safe and comfortable in our environment in the United States that they're willing to accept tyranny, lawlessness, danger to their own people, and they don't realize that we have a free will. Like when my great-great-grandfather moved to Texas, he was a Texas Ranger right outside of Austin in the 1870s, battling Comanche Indians. Now, you didn't just sit back and go, man, well, I hope somebody comes and protects me. You had to just step up and protect yourself. We got cartels who are trying to profiteer on the death of our children. That's insane, and we should stop it. And we shouldn't allow the Western Hemisphere to be this complete chaotic environment. He's right to try to get Argentina. Secretary Dustin is right to try to figure out how to get strength there and push China out. We need to reclaim our rightful position in the Western Hemisphere. It'll make our country materially safer and stronger, and it starts with dismantling the cartels.
Well, I hope the Texans elect you. I think they will, because we need you there, not just for Texas, not Texas, obviously, but the whole country. The Islamist activity taking place in, of all places, Texas, is unbelievable. The effort to try and impose Sharia in various communities, to create Islamic-only communities. I want to have you back, Chip. I want to go through this with you as well, because in many ways, Texas is becoming ground zero. There are other states that are ground zero too, Michigan, in some ways, New Jersey, and so forth, but definitely Texas. The eye is on Texas, the flip Texas, Texas. And I'd like to discuss that with you as well. If people want to help you, Chip Roy, get elected Attorney General, and I strongly endorse him, folks. He's a dear friend of mine. Where do they go?
Well, thanks, Mark. ChipRoy.com. You can find me on X/Twitter at ChipRoyTX, ChipRoy. And I appreciate your support and your friendship. Keep doing what you're doing. We need you out there. Great voice for freedom, obviously, and all that you've done to stand up in defense of the Constitution. And I'm deeply appreciative of your friendship. But importantly, for all the listeners out there, we have to understand that they're at war with us. Win a war that you don't recognize exists. So we got to suit up.
No, you're the best. All right, Chip, you be safe out there. Take care of yourself, brother.
God bless. Take care, Mark.
God bless you too. He and I go way, way back. We don't always agree on everything, but we almost always do. That's the truth. And he's a great man. And I very much support him Attorney General of Texas. Is there any question about that? He would be absolutely fantastic. We need men and we need women with a character like Chip. We really do. A lot of
Thank you.
at the state and local level. I'll be right back.
Holy fuck.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news. These days, when it comes to news, the World Wide Web is more like the Wild Wild West.
It makes you want to throw something, doesn't it?
So where can you go to make sense of your world online? Depend on WMAL.com. Get the day's top stories. Stream your favorite WMAL shows. Access our podcast archives and more.
Awesome, hilarious, entertaining, educational.
For a local news source you can trust, visit WMAL.com. Making sense of your world online.
On the outer loop of the Beltway at 66, there is still an accident in the left lane causing delays from the Dulles Toll Road, and delays continue from the Springfield interchange to the Wilson Bridge, and a crash reported on the outer loop just before the BW Parkway. Interloop still jams up from the Leesburg Pike to the Spur, and delays continue from Old Georgetown Road to New Hampshire Avenue 95 heading towards Kenilworth Avenue. Also, watch out for accident activity on 95 southbound between Dale Boulevard and Dumfries Road. Traffic very heavy there and also slow from Newington in towards Woodbridge. And crash activity still to watch out for at 270 northbound before 28, causing delays from Old Georgetown Road. Now from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Storm Watch and Forecast.
Tonight, mostly clear with lows in the 20s. Tomorrow, increasing clouds with highs in the lower 40s.
Yuck, it's flu season. And the flu monster could be anywhere. He could be right next to you on the bus, or watching the play, in line at the store, cheering at the game, singing along at the concert, or blabbing away in the conference room. You just never know where the flu monster is hiding. Protect yourself with a flu shot. Appointments are now open for anyone age 2 or older, or just walk into your local Kinney Drugs. Learn more at KinneyDrugs.com.
Most people would rather assemble a 300-piece cabinet than search for insurance. That's why the Zebra searches for you, comparing over 100 insurance companies to find savings no one else can. Compare today at thezebra.com.
Unlike other health concerns, mental illness is not always easy to see. Sorting out a mental health concern takes professional diagnosis and treatment. If you or a loved one has a mental health concern, call 1-800-662-HELP for free and confidential information and treatment referral. Learn more at samhsa.gov/support.
I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com, because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/Mike.
You know, folks, Americans rely on credit cards for secure payments and seamless transactions. But consumers stand to lose it all with the Durbin-Marshall credit card mandate bill. Big government mandates favor corporate mega stores and allow them to choose how your credit card is processed. They might end up using untested payment networks that could jeopardize your data security and rewards. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Visit guardyourcard.com to learn more. That's guardyourcard.com, paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
Mark Levin.
You sound like he's
radio show.
WMAL, making sense of the headlines, because common sense isn't so common. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
What a beautiful time of the year. New Hillsdale College mini-series on colonial America reminds us what we should try to be thankful for truly: our freedom, our prosperity, and our faith. In a brand new 6-part documentary series, Hillsdale College professors will teach you the religious, political, cultural, and economic ideas that shaped a uniquely American culture during the colonial period. And you'll learn why the idea of liberty, especially religious liberty, inspired the settlers of America to cross the Atlantic, how Americans organized local governments, why America has always been a land where virtue can lead to peace and prosperity. This Hillsdale College miniseries is completely free, folks. It's easy to access. Plus, Hillsdale offers more than 40 other free online courses, including a course on C.S. Lewis, the stories in the book of Genesis, and the rise and fall of the Roman Republic. So go right now to levinforhillsdale.com to enroll. That's Levin for Hillsdale.com. There is no cost. It's easy to get started. It is fascinating, informative, substantive, entertaining. I can't stress it enough. That's levinforhillsdale.com to register for free. That's Levin for Hillsdale.com. It's amazing to me how the Democrats and some of these Republicans, how cocksure they are that this is a crime. Now that is as asinine as it gets. And yet here we have the Washington, D.C. propaganda mill. It is a machine spewing out the same thing, targeting Hegseth. And you have to ask yourself, why do they keep targeting him? Because he's effective. That's why they keep targeting him. Because he's young. He's charismatic. He's a combat veteran. He knows what he's doing. If he were a 78-year-old general and mumbling during hearings, they would be lavishing him with praise. But he's trying to do things that need to be done, and he's doing it in the direction of the President of the United States. So they figure they're going to attack the president, but it might be easier. The lower-hanging fruit is a cabinet secretary like him. He's been an outstanding Secretary of Defense. Period. Outstanding Secretary of Defense. I don't think we give this cabinet the credit that it deserves. And yes, I find that Pam Bondi has been an outstanding Attorney General. And I find the leadership at the FBI and Kash Patel and Dan Bongino to be superb. I know that agency. That agency is part of the Department of Justice. I was chief of staff under Attorney General Meese, who, by the way, turned 94 yesterday. Happy birthday, Mr. General. One of my great mentors. It's a very difficult agency to reform and to run, but I think they've done an outstanding job. I know the grifters, the phony influencers who run over to Qatar, the phony podcasters who are desperate for eyes in order to make their millions. They have to have people to track. I get it. And one day, Brother Bongino will be back behind the microphone. And these people will rue the day. He's a great patriot. And one day, Kash Patel will be able to speak his mind. They will rue the day. Oh, they will. And Hegseth, I want to thank him. I want to thank him for what he's been doing with Venezuela. I want to thank him for what he's been doing in the Middle East. I want to thank him for the things that he's doing in helping to build up the military, their morale as high as could be, and the number of people are signing up voluntarily for service.
Your path to adult education begins with AEPP. Whether it's preparing for your GED, building your reading and writing skills, or discovering apprenticeship opportunities. Learn more today at nysed.gov/adulted. A message from the New York State Education Department.
Carmelo Anthony here for DraftKings Sportsbook. An 82-game season, that's a grind. Trust me, I already know about that. The Emirates NBA Cup turns it up even more, and DraftKings Sportsbook lets you feel that fire every night. New customers, bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code HEART. That's code HEART. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, pass-through of per wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
Ever wish buying a home was as easy as clicking your heels 3 times? At Northern Credit Union, we know there's no place like home. We offer first-time buyer programs with no closing costs, VA, USDA, seasonal, new construction, and many other loan options. If you're dreaming of home ownership, Northern will help you get into your new home in 3 clicks of your heels. Getting approved is quick and easy, and with our meet or beat rate guarantee, you know you're getting the lowest rate possible. Our team is here to help you along the yellow brick road to home ownership with honest advice, personalized service, and support every step of the way. Click your heels or just call or text, because at Northern, there's no place like home. Northern Credit Union, mortgage magic in the real world. Call or text 315-782-0155 or apply online at mynorthern.com. Federally insured, NCUA, equal housing opportunity.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station.
Making sense of the news.
News Talk 105.9. News now.
WMAL News at 7. I'm Heather Curtis. A day at the casino turns deadly at MGM National Harbor. Prince George's County Police Chief George Nader says officers were called to the food court around noon and found a man in his 20s dead.
There was no exchange. The victim was ordering food. The suspect appeared and immediately began shooting at the victim.
He says the shooting was not random, but they don't know the motive. They're looking for the suspect who they think left in a car.
There's no active threat to the community.
Nader says National Harbor is a safe place to visit, despite concerns about youth violence that have prompted multiple teen curfews in recent years. Meanwhile, neighboring D.C. expanded its juvenile curfew through April. Security is being increased at High Point High School after a student was stabbed multiple times in an attack at a nearby Metro bus stop yesterday. Includes increased police and enhanced security screening, according to Prince George's County Schools. No word on motive. The freshman remains hospitalized in critical condition. This just the latest in a number of violent incidents involving students at the school. More than 300 members of the South Carolina National Guard are headed to D.C. Governor Henry McMaster saying Monday that the Secretary of Army asked him months ago to send the troops to relieve others.
This is a standard operating procedure.
It also comes a week after an Afghan national allegedly ambushed 2 West Virginia Guard members near the White House, killing one and injuring another. He pleaded not guilty to murder yesterday.
Horrible situation. But the guardsmen and women know that when they are called, that's what they may face. It's just like law enforcement.
He expects the guardsmen to be here for a month. As part of a settlement with D.C., a Virginia construction company will pay nearly $750,000 in penalties and back pay.
D.C. Attorney General Brian Schwab's office says that Christian Siding failed to pay prevailing wages to skilled workers. Those include higher rates and additional benefits on a trio of projects, while also improperly classifying employees as independent contractors on more than a dozen other projects in D.C. The misclassification also took away wages and benefits legally owed. An OAG investigation found more than 225 workers harmed by the violations. Christian Siding will pay the workers more than $364,000 and more than $360,000 in penalties to D.C. Scotland on WMAL and WMAL.com.
The Virginia Republican Party is changing leadership after massive Democrat wins in November.
Party process is super boring, but it's very important.
Matthew Hurt, chair of the Arlington GOP committee, tells WMAL's O'Connor and Company now that current state chair Mark Peake has resigned.
Until the state central committee can meet to select, I use the word select, not elect, his replacement.
The interim chair will serve. Hurt wants the next GOP leader to prioritize getting out the votes.
We saw depressed turnout in Southwest among Republican voters, Trump voters who didn't show up.
With the selection of a new chair by mid-January. Barbara Britt, WMAL and WMAL.com.
Republican Matt Van Apps wins Tuesday's special congressional election in Tennessee, allowing the GOP to maintain its slim House majority. The AP projecting Epps got about 54% of the vote, a roughly 9% margin of victory. He tells Fox News.
We are so happy with our margin of victory, and I think it's setting the tone for 2026.
He says residents voted to reject socialism, his main goal, making life more affordable. President Trump pardoned Texas Democratic Congressman Henry Cuellar and his wife in a bribery and conspiracy case, which the president says was brought by a weaponized justice system. Traffic and weather next.
So right now may be the perfect time for you to rethink how you pay for health care. And here's why. This time of year is decision time for a lot of people, but it's also when you can join MediShare and save even more than usual. For many families, joining MediShare means saving about $500 a month, which is a game changer for a lot of people. More than 1 million people are part of healthcare sharing now because it just makes so much sense right now. And MediShare is the gold standard. Members like it a lot. We know this from member surveys. MediShare has been around for over 30 years. It is a proven thing. And if you join before December 15th and you mention the promo code SHARE, they'll waive your application fee. So you save $100 right off the bat. I'll give you the number here in a second, but just call. You'll get a price within 2 minutes. And again, the deadline's December 15th. Call now. You'll save even more. Here's the number. It's 855-BIBLE-11. That's 855-BIBLE-11. 855-BIBLE-11.
Here's Michelle Murray in the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.
The backup southbound DC. The backup southbound DC 295 between Burroughs Avenue and East Capitol Street. The slowdowns northbound all the way from the 11th Street Bridge to Eastern Avenue, and traffic jammed up in the 3rd Street Tunnel going northbound between D Street and New York Avenue. In Alexandria for delays in the local lanes of the outer loop between the split merge in Virginia and US 1. Slowing on the Beltway inner loop starts on Tyson's near Virginia 123, goes all the way to New Hampshire Avenue. Now from GarageToRepair.com, the WMAL Storm 17 forecast.
Mainly clear and cold overnight, 20s by early tomorrow morning. A breezy Thursday, but we are trending dry. Temperatures in the middle 40s. Friday, mostly cloudy, chance for light snow later in the day, highs in the mid 30s. I'm 7 News meteorologist Steve Rudin in the First Alert Weather Center.
Right now in Washington, 40 degrees. I'm Heather Curtis on WMAL.
Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. Mark Levin.
In the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hello, America. Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. This is the fastest show on conservative talk radio. Before you know it, begins and then it ends. It's because we do a lot in between. And I want to thank you all for being here. I want to tell you of a problem we're facing as a country, big problem. And, I've talked about the country of Qatar more than most. I think it is a major enemy of the United States. I don't care who supports them and who doesn't support them. I'm just telling you from my own analysis, gathering of substantive factual information. It is a very, very clever, dangerous country led by vile, vicious, evil dictators in the form of a monarchy. It is a country that was created out of whole cloth. Turns out, as a matter of accident, that this tiny little speck with 330,000 population and about 2 million inhabitants, many of whom are indentured servants. They give them visas from the third world. They come in and they take their visas away. Many of them have been enslaved in many respects, and there have been many reports put out on this. Apparently, it is of no consequence. It is a vile, vile enterprise that runs that country. It truly is. Now, what I'm trying to find here, Mr. Producer, is, let me find it as I go through here. There was a piece that I read this morning about this massive push, a tremendous amount of money, luxury hotels, 5-course meals, sporting events, a massive push right now by the monarchy in Qatar to buy off as many Republicans and conservatives and so-called conservative influencers as possible, to buy off as much media as possible right now, to buy off as much entertainers as possible right now. That's the effort. For instance, a publication called the Jewish Insider, don't like me very much, by the way, center left. Qatar has these ties to the Muslim Brotherhood. Qatar is basically the banker to the Muslim Brotherhood. Muslim Brotherhood has spawned Hamas, Islamic Jihad, and others. The Muslim Brotherhood murdered certain important Arab leaders, Sadat being one of them, was behind Al-Qaeda. It's like the mothership of terrorism. The Muslim Brotherhood now has a foothold in the United States of America. And so the administration has said that they want to designate the Muslim Brotherhood in certain countries as a terrorist organization. I was somewhat critical and said, no, let's just designate the Muslim Brotherhood in every country as terrorist organizations, including in Qatar. But Qatar is now doubling down on this charm offensive. They have focused in on certain Republican members, certain conservative social media influencers. They have also partnered with CNN and I believe the Wall Street Journal. I want to get into this with you because this is just the latest effort by Qatar, as pointed out by this website. And they're the group of House Republicans, and this was reported first by Laura Loomer, by the way, who's under constant attack, but she's been doing a great job. A group of House Republicans visited Qatar during the House's Thanksgiving recess, of all places to go, including Representatives Laurel Lee, Republican of Florida, Marlon Stutzman, Republican of Indiana, who's been on this show in the years past, Abe Hamadeh, Republican of Arizona, Ryan Zinke, Republican of Montana, and Lance Gooden, Republican of Texas. The trip occurred just before the House Foreign Affairs Committee is scheduled to vote on legislation that classifies the entire Muslim Brotherhood organization globally, not just country by country, globally, as a terrorist organization. A group of so-called conservative social media influencers also visited Qatar over Thanksgiving, posting glowing dispatches lauding the country in its role in hosting a U.S. military base. Rob Smith, one of the invited guests, posted credulously about Qatar on his Instagram feed after the trip, quote, I wasn't aware of a great deal of things about Qatar, I should say, only misperceptions and half-truths that I'd read about online. When the opportunity was presented to me with full authority and autonomy to ask the tough questions of the officials I've been meeting with, I decided to risk any potential criticism and to travel and experience it for myself. And they wined and dined this guy as they have others. And now his eyes have been opened. How he's been fooled all these years. The great Qatar.
Yeah.
Numerous celebrities have also, this week, gone to Qatar. Comedian Kevin Hart, celebrity chief Gordon Ramsay, tennis star Novak Djokovic, gathered in Doha over the weekend for the 2025 Formula One Qatar Grand Prix. So they have these massive events, like golfing events, these kinds of events, tennis events, to sort of westernize their propaganda. And this week, the country is hosting the Doha Forum, a conference co-sponsored by CNN. Those attending the conference include several officials from the administration, ambassadors, politicians, philanthropists, alongside Israel-bashing officials such as former Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif, sanctioned UN special individual Francesca Albanese and former Iran envoy Robert Malley. Now, you know about Malley. Malley worked very closely with the Iranians, went behind America's back, and on and on and on. You can Google it yourself. And also a gentleman, I forget his name. I should write it down. I should memorize it, keep it in memory. Who was the first to finance Tucker Carlson's network. He bragged about it in Qatar. In Qatar. Yes, one of my first investments was in the Tucker Carlson network. Others on the guest list. U.S. Ambassador to Turkey, Tom Barak. U.S. Ambassador to NATO, Trump advisor, Alec Brzezinski. Oh, that's the guy who goes online and attacks me in the inner circle. That's the guy, Alex Brzezinski, if that's how you pronounce it. Doesn't mean anything to me. The Quincy Institutes. Trita Parsi. Quincy Institute is a massive isolationist operation funded by both George Soros and Charles Koch. Now, I don't have the entire list. CNN anchor Christiane Amanpour, other officials, and so forth and so on. Now, think about that. Now, this comes at a time when Qatar's complicated public reputation in the United States is becoming a flashpoint, particularly inside the conservative movement. That's thanks to me. The facts that I presented on this program, the facts that I presented on digital TV, and the facts that I presented repeatedly on Fox. Qatar has spent billions brainwashing our young people, turning them against our country. Billions. Fomenting violence in our country. Qatar has helped promote organizations like CARE, which is connected to Hamas, which we know from what the FBI did with the Holy Land Foundation case and the bugs that they put in a hotel room in the Marriott Hotel outside the Philadelphia airport. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. People from both parties, terrorist-supporting individuals, so-called conservatives, so-called podcasters and influencers, people from business, from the administration, from the Democrat Party. That's what Qatar is doing. They've defeated the Democrat Party. They've devoured the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party is now the AOC, Mamdani, Sanders, Tlaib, Omar Party. The Republican Party, they seek to conquer next and pretend that they're promoting Western values, when in fact, they hate us. They're connected to the Taliban, the Muslim Brotherhood, Hamas, and all the rest of it. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin. News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
The Paul Steffen Home has saved hundreds of women and babies since it began its Save Babies One Mom at a Time mission. To save the baby, we must save the mom too. Please donate today. PaulSteffenHome.org. PaulSteffenHome.org.
So right now may be the perfect time for you to rethink how you pay for health care. And here's why. This time of year is decision time for a lot of people, but it's also when you can join MediShare and save even more than usual. For many families, joining MediShare means saving about $500 a month, which is a game changer for a lot of people. More than 1 million people are part of healthcare sharing now because it just makes so much sense right now. And MediShare is the gold standard. Members like it a lot. We know this from member surveys. MediShare has been around for over 30 years. It is a proven thing. And if you join before December 15th and you mention the promo code SHARE, they'll waive your application fee. So you save $100 right off the bat. I'll give you the number here in a second, but just call. You'll get a price within 2 minutes. And again, the deadline's December 15th. Call now, you'll save even more. Here's the number. It's 855-BIBLE-11. That's 855-BIBLE-11. 855-BIBLE-11.
This holiday season, give the gift that everyone actually wants, Omaha Steaks. Right now, save 50% site-wide, plus an extra $35 off with code HOLIDAYGIFT at checkout. From USDA certified very tender filet mignons and perfectly aged ribeyes to juicy burgers and gourmet sides and desserts that make every meal unforgettable, Omaha Steaks brings steakhouse quality flavors straight to your doorstep. Whether you're gifting family across the country or filling your own freezer, every box arrives perfectly packaged and guaranteed to impress. Because nothing says I love you most like a gift of Omaha Steaks. Skip the malls and the guessing. Go to omahasteaks.com right now. That's omahasteaks.com to save 50% site-wide, plus get an extra $35 off with code HOLIDAYGIFT at checkout. Hurry, this deal won't last. Omaha Steaks, delivering joy since 1917. Minimum purchase may apply. See site for details.
Here at the Zebra, research shows the average person would rather endure a root canal than search for auto and home insurance.
Just try to relax.
Okay. Or be trapped in a car for 8 hours with toddlers on a sugar high. Or remove a nest of irate hornets. That's why the Zebra searches for you, comparing over 100 insurance companies to find savings no one else can. Compare today at thezebra.com. We do the searching, you do the saving. I think I'll wait inside.
Our Q4 roadmap includes omni-channel bandwidth.
This season, it's not about their rules. Lucky Rebels taking the odds back from the suits. So rebels like you can make your own rules. When it's 4th and long, you're not made to punt. Bet the way you live, like a rebel. Join the rebellion and get a $1,250 bonus at luckyrebel.la.
Stand.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Maybe you haven't heard about us. We're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless has you paying for more data than you might need. Why? They might want you to cover the costs of younger people who do use all that data. If you're not using the data, you're probably being used. We've heard time and time again that some Big Wireless customers get stuck paying hundreds and even thousands more for years and years because they think it's hard to switch. Not with us. It takes just about 20 minutes and you can change your plan anytime without extra charges. We use the same towers as the big guys, so you'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the Big Wireless bill.
Our plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
Making sense of your world.
Thanks for taking my call.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
Greatly appreciated.
Making sense of the news. WMAL's Vince Colonnades, weekdays at noon on 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
You know, Dinesh D'Souza is an American patriot, and he's a good friend, he's a good man. And he's got this film, the Dragon's Prophecy film.com. I want you to check it out. Dinesh D'Souza, I'm looking, the Qatari government's been very, very busy, in addition to its friendship with one of the financiers who started the Tucker Carlson network. And that financier was over in Qatar, Homi Malik, bragging about the fact. I see they have been working overtime, the Qataris, to influence Republican members of Congress, so-called conservative commentators and influencers, members of various organizations, left and right, politicians, left and right. They spend a tremendous amount of money trying to buy influence, don't they?
You know, Mark, I know an attorney who does some business in the Arab world, and he says the Qataris, one of their slogans is that they are the true chosen people because God made it such that they get oil essentially coming out of the ground and the entire country doesn't have to work. And so they do work, but they work at what they call financial jihad. And that is they deploy their resources to buying influence. Now, we know that they've been doing it for some decades in America through universities. And, they don't buy a conference. They buy a political science department. And I think what they've realized of late is that they need to move into the conservative movement, and they need to try to create this kind of schism within the right. And to some degree, they've been successful at doing it. But there's big money behind it, and apparently a lot of people are succumbing to it. And people need to be aware that what they're getting is a bought and paid for influence campaign.
And it's massive. I mean, they've spent tens of billions of dollars, basically destroying many of our institutions, our academic institutions. Everywhere you look, I mean, I was at a Johns Hopkins appointment not long ago. They built one of those buildings. I mean, the Medal of Honor Museum, brand new. They put $5 million into that. Formula racing, they're involved in that. Golf, they're involved in that. So they really are very smart and sinister about how they secrete themselves into these different Western institutions for the purpose of destroying them, right? Because they're the biggest backer of the Muslim Brotherhood and Hamas and Islamic Jihad and all the rest of them.
Yes, although they managed to play this sort of middle of the road image in which they imply that they are standing in between. They're standing in the middle of the bridge between Israel and America on the one side and the rest of the Muslim world on the other. But they're very duplicitous kind of brokers. I think the other thing that's interesting is that they might have learned this from George Soros. They can deploy resources at the local level in America in school board campaigns, in sheriff's campaigns, local attorney general campaigns, where often $100,000, $200,000 makes a huge difference. And so you can buy a tremendous amount of influence in American politics if you deploy your resources kind of like a political venture capitalist of sorts.
Mm-hmm. I want to talk to you about what I call these neo-fascists and so forth. And we've touched on this before. People who are promoting ideological viewpoints more in line with Qatar, more in line with Russia, more in line with the enemies of America, while claiming to be America first, while wrapping themselves in Americanism, isolationism as opposed to, smart foreign policy based on prudential decisions. And not only that, rather than provide true substantive support for their positions, they platform, nut jobs, phony historians, people who rewrite World War II and undermine our history. And they sound like Marxist leftists and so forth. What do you make of that?
Well, I think a couple of these characters, Nick Fuentes, Candace Owens, I see them as sort of solo political entrepreneurs who are navigating these treacherous waters of social media and trying to create profitable kind of niches for themselves. Tucker, I put in a different category because I think Tucker is, as you and I are, he's been around for a few decades. He knows that politics is fought in teams. He knows that to drive a wedge within our own side is to strengthen the other side. And yet he's doing this, and it's clearly not accidental. It'd be one thing if he had a deviant position on this or that issue, but it seems like almost every day there is a new wedge, there's a new sort of turn of the screw. And so clearly there's a systematic campaign here, I think, to undo the MAGA coalition. And it's very surprising to me that there are still some people who don't see it. Of course, they don't defend Tucker on the substance. I mean, you won't even find the Goipers come out and say, Tucker's right about Sharia or Tucker's right about Maduro. He's really a conservative. They don't do that, but they use the old kind of don't cancel Tucker and let's leave him alone, Dinesh. But they But the interesting thing is that they too seem to recognize that Tucker's positions are indefensible.
And yet he does it to draw a crowd, doesn't he? In addition to destroy MAGA in the Republican Party, he's waging war, he said himself, on the Republican Party. He's waging war, he said himself, on evangelical Christians. He's certainly waging war on the state of Israel. He coddles Putin. He coddles the Qatari royal family. He coddles the president of Iran, and so forth and so on. I guess what I'm going to ask when we come back, Dinesh D'Souza, is how long can this go on without the vast majority of even his followers saying, all right, I got to get away from this nut job? We'll be right back.
Newsmax, you like Newsmax? I like it too.
I'm going to shut this one down and come back later.
President Trump is
Only because I have company.
like you are tuning into
Somebody's
Newsmax.
here,
You're
so I have
watching
to go.
Newsmax on cable. You're going to our streaming channel, Newsmax 2, and you're downloading our free Newsmax app on your smartphones and TVs. Reuters